evening and welcome to another edition of the news. Beginning in Cameroon, Prime Minister Head of Government Joseph Dion Ngute yesterday, Tuesday, October 13, visited the Douala Port Authority for the official inauguration of 5 new boats and ships acquired by the port to facilitate their operations and limit costs. Amongst other activities at the port, he went inspecting the newly required machinery expected to assist in the dredging of the facility. The Prime Minister attended the occasion as the personal representative of the head of state. These engines, according to the head of government, will not only make the Douala port more competitive, but also aid in sand extraction, as sand extracted will help reduce construction costs and create more employment for youth. He notably praised the innovative Douala Port Board and management. Dion Ngute, at the end of the visit, equally expressed satisfaction at what he saw.
I've seen for myself the usefulness of the equipment that the port has acquired, the dredger amongst others. It's going to help to propel the Douala port into a real center of activity in West Africa and in Central Africa. I think the port of Douala is modernizing itself with all the reforms in terms of security, in terms of logistics, in terms of transport, and it's been very interesting to see, and I'm going to report very positively to the President of the Republic that his reforms are being carried out here in Douala in the port.
The Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manauda Malachi, during a press conference in Yaoundé yesterday, gave an official statement concerning the poliovirus vaccination campaign in Cameroon, involving 6 of the 10 regions of the country. Dr. Manauda explains that the campaign follows the reporting of various cases of other forms of the virus in some health districts in the 3 northern regions, the East, Center and Littoral. And so these 6 regions are undergoing vaccination against the disabling yet preventable vaccine disease. The minister has urged parents to allow their kids to get vital protection. It should be noted that the vaccination exercise was programmed in 2 phases. In the west region of Cameroon, governing authorities came together in a meeting at the governor's office on October 13 to discuss on the last stage of the programming system that they have organized. The aim was to come to a compromise on a public investment project for the years 2021 to 2023 for the region. They had some criteria based on questions as to whether...
What is your performance when you are executing the public investment budget? What was your ranking during the PNDP last edition of Performance Basket? Okay, when you leave that one, is the project you have selected issued from the communal development plan? And even if it is issued from the communal development plan, can you show, is it showing interest for population or administration? And then from there, what is the potential of your project? Is your project bringing employment in the area? And if it is bringing employment in the area, does it contribute to the how you call it, economic profile? Does it build the economic profile of your council so that you can make it more attractive? These are some of the...
These and many more, as well as the results, were debated upon. According to the representative of the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, Fonkam Jumesi Roger, the exercise taking place at the regional capital was due to be organized at the level of the divisions. As such, the SDOs would be the ones to transmit the discussions that took place at the level of the individuals. Mayors have, however, expressed discontent since they sent their projects without the required principles. They wish to see the process of decentralization being rapidly implemented in order to avoid such loopholes. Chaired by Governor Awafonka Augustine, the final report is expected at the central desk in 2 weeks maximum. In central Mali, the army and local authorities say suspected Islamist militants have killed 25 people, including 13 soldiers, in a multiple attack, burning down an army base and ambushing troops sent as reinforcements. 9 soldiers were killed in the first attack that took place overnight against a base in Soukura, near the border with Burkina Faso. On Tuesday, other 3 soldiers were killed in an ambush at a bridge near the base as their unit headed to the scene of the first attack. In a third assault, about 40 minutes later near the town of Bandiagara, gunmen ambushed a commercial truck, killing 12 traders and 1 soldier, an army statement reported. The attacks are said to be the deadliest since the Mali coup that overthrew President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta and came just days after scores of jailed militants were freed by the interim government in a prisoner swap. Despite the appointment of a transitional government, regional and international powers fear the violence could further destroy the West African nation and undermine a French-directed military campaign against insurgents linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State in the wider Sahel region. Over to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Martin Fayulu, a main opposition figure, has called for demonstrations over the national unity and territorial integrity of the country. The march, planned to take place this Wednesday, October 14, in Kinshasa, has the objective to say no to those who covet the lands and riches of the DRC. Fayulu, former candidate who still claims victory in the presidential election of December 2018, went further during a press conference last week to say, "If today we give up, tomorrow we shall have no more country. We would be the first people of Africa colonized to be enslaved, occupied and colonized by another people of Africa." The opposition figure and civil society actors denounced the decision to grant Minembwe the status and powers of a full municipality for the benefit of the mayor of Banyamulenge. During an intervention in January, President Felix Tshisekedi said in Lingala, the Banyamulenge are Congolese citizens. However, overturned the decision last month to raise Minembwe into a rural community. He also decided to set up a commission of neutral experts of geographers and lawyers to redefine the boundaries of the municipality. Kenya has partially reopened schools amid coronavirus safety precautions. The partial reopening is limited to only a few grades as there is a very strict rule in place to ensure pupils stay as safe as possible. The school children concerned are in grades 4, 8 and 12 who returned to class on Monday, October 13, ending a month of closure of all educational institutions in the country. This was designed to slow the spread of the novel coronavirus. The 3 levels going back to school are all preparing for standardized exams that were postponed from November to March. It is said that the government will decide later whether all students can return to school or not. More than 17 million Kenyan students have missed 6 months of school, the United Nations Children Agency said, leading to other social problems as large numbers of reported violence against children, child marriage and child pregnancy, as well as child labor have been reported, while some 1.6 million children rely on school meals that stopped in March since the implementation of the lockdown. In the Mount Kilimanjaro fire blaze, Tanzania has deployed 500 firefighters in effort to contain an ongoing blaze that began 2 days prior, but was under control on its 3rd day, the National Parks Authority has said. Additional 400 soldiers have been battling the blaze, which is believed to be a man-made with a small fire made for cooking lit surrounding dry bush. The affected area is about 28 kilometers square so far, TANAPA Director General Alain Kijazi said in a short video posted on social media. Hundreds of volunteers, residents and students were mobilized to fight the fire. No evacuations or casualties have been recorded, although authorities remain concerned that there may be a potential disruption to the local water supply as residents in communities at the base of Kilimanjaro are dependent on water from the mountain. Further spread of the fire is possible in the near term. An emergency response presence and localized transportation disruptions, namely road closures, should be anticipated in the affected areas. Those in the vicinity of the fire are advised to monitor the situation, avoid the area, and adhere to all instructions issued by the local authorities, including evacuation orders. President Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Amy Coney Barrett, has been subject to a series of questioning from United States senators in which she had to face questions about health care, abortion, gun rights, and the upcoming election. On the second day of hearings before the Senate Judiciary Committee on Tuesday, Democrats pressed the Supreme Court pick on these issues, in which it is largely said that she answered with little success. Coney Barrett largely dodged the questions on how she would rule on a challenge to the Affordable Care Act, ACA, whether she would withdraw herself from any lawsuit about the presidential election, and whether she would vote to overturn the landmark 1973 law which made abortion legal. She insisted that she has not spoken to the president or his team about how she would handle such issues when she was nominated to succeed the late Justice Ruth Ginsburg. She told the senators that she would bring her own approach to the High Court, stating, "You would not be getting Justice Scalia," referring to late Justice Antonin Scalia, her mentor. "You would be getting Justice Barrett," she said. After the hearing, which lasted more than 11 hours, Democrats maintained that Barrett's nomination was effectively a herald of the overturning of the ACA, known popularly as Obamacare, as well as a threat to America's health care coverage during the coronavirus pandemic. The 48-year-old appellate court judge and former law professor, nominated by President Donald Trump, is on track for a quick confirmation to the head of the U.S. Supreme Court before the November 3 election. Still in the USA, voters have cast more than 10 million votes for the November 3 presidential election, significantly outpacing the early vote in 2016 and suggesting a large turnout, according to data compiled by the U.S. Elections Project. The early voting comes amid the coronavirus pandemic that has led to a surge of the early and mail balloting, particularly amongst Democrats. As of Monday night, nearly 10.4 million Americans have cast a vote in states that report early voting data. Republican President Donald Trump has shown confusion and distrust of mail balloting, making repeated unfounded allegations of widespread fraud ahead of this contest with Democratic nominee Joe Biden. Voters expressed fears and doubts about their vote being counted or having to stand in lines on election day amidst a pandemic. This has persuaded many Americans to take an early trip to the polling booths. Following the proposal of the EU Commission on 4 of September 2020, ministers from the 27 member states have adopted a traffic light system as a guide on whether to require testing or quarantine for non-essential EU travelers. The rules, however, are not binding on member states. Under the plan, the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control will publish a weekly map of the EU using a traffic light color system to indicate the level of risk in each area. Travelers coming from a red orange or grey zone could be required to quarantine or to take a test for COVID-19, while those coming from a green zone would not face any measures. France has welcomed the decision, but Luxembourg Foreign Minister Jean Asselborn, who abstained in the vote, said the text of the agreement was not yet a finished state. Hungary on early this week closed its borders while exempting visitors from the 3 neighboring states, a move branded by the Commission as discriminatory and illegal. The Mexican government has removed a prominent bronze statue of Christopher Columbus and surrounded another with high metal fencing. This removal occurred on the eve of the traditional annual protest that take place every October 12 to remember the explorers' arrival to the continent in 1492. The monument could have been a target of banditry acts, as it has happened in some U.S. cities, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said. Authorities said it was taken away for restoration work on Saturday, but added that it was also time for reflection about Columbus' legacy. It is worth noting that most Latin American countries used to celebrate America's discovery, but indigenous people have helped turn the date into a day of protest against genocide and colonial oppression. That brings us to the end of this edition of the news on DBS TV. Thank you for watching and have a blessed night with us. Goodbye.